up with the director's report.
Alrighty. Director's report for April 2025. We had 0 curbside pickups, 356 total patrons. We had 7 classes with 16 visits for 344 students. Storytime attendees, we had 51 adults, 80 children for a total attendees of 131, and we had 5 storytime events in April. Dungeons and Dragons, we had 1 event with 9 attendees. Volunteers, we had 4 with a total of 8 visits and 22 hours for the month. This does include 1 senior for the town's work-off program, who very much likes her job and keeps coming back, so.
Great.
Yay. Not Just Knitting, we had 3 events with 12 attendees. Senior Book Club had 4 attendees. Boy Scouts had 3 visits with 18 attendees. We had a mini canvas night with 6 attendees. We had a total of 4 new cards, which includes 2 e-cards. And then for Facebook and Instagram, our page reach in April for Facebook was 2,492. Total page likes in April was 911. Page followers was 1,056. And Facebook page visits was 567. Instagram page reach in April was 54. We have 192 followers, and we had 10 visits for April for the Instagram profile visits. Most popular Facebook post was the mini canvas night with 1,282, followed by the April vacation breakdown of 1,066. We had 43 Wi-Fi connections and 526 website visits. For Hubbardston items circulated regardless of location, April was 1,607. All items circulated at Hubbardston regardless of ownership was 1,579. We had 151 requested holds. We have 1,439 total number of patrons registered at Hubbardston. Total number of items is 11,279. For Overdrive, monthly checkouts for April was 740, with holds on Overdrive, 150 of e-audio, 222 for ebooks, with a total of 372. The library was closed on Saturday, April 12th due to the weather, and on Monday, April 21st for Patriots' Day holiday. Our website will receive a facelift from CyberOptic, who is our new website provider. I will forward the offline link for you to look over. Just note they were using old information for their setup, so focus on the format, not the information. I believe it should go live sometime in June. This is due to the retirement of our previous website company. The Senior Book Club met on Wednesday, April 30th and discussed The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell by Robert Dugoni. The next book club meeting will be held on May 28th at 11 a.m. at the Senior Center in the Slade Building at 7 Main Street, where they will discuss Killers of the Flower Moon, the Osage Murders, and the Birth of the FBI by David Grann. The April display in the adult and children's room celebrated spring and gardening, while the children's room also had an Easter display. The May displays for both the adult reading room and the children's reading room will celebrate Asian and Pacific Islander Month. The children's room will also have a display for Memorial Day. I have no update on the National Grid for the pole installation. Our town accountant resigned at the beginning of April. It sounds like we will have a new accountant next month. In the meantime, the numbers on your financial report will not change until the new accountant gets an opportunity to update our numbers. I did not attend any online seminars this month. The annual town meeting will be held on Monday, June 2nd, and I didn't write it down. I couldn't find it. I think it's 7 p.m.
I thought it was 7 p.m.
I believe it's 7 p.m. I apologize for that. I missed that. So respectfully submitted by Christine Barbera. I did send you guys the
Web activity
yeah.
report? Yeah.
Okay, because I apparently did not print it up for myself. I just have the financial.
Yeah, and it looks like Hubbard's, the homepage, events calendar, hours and directions, museum passes, and the 5K are the ones that have the most hits on it.
Yep.
So we'll be able to have this for the new website too.
Yes. Yeah, if you already saw it, so yeah. I will make sure that we get that.
Any questions about the director's report for Chris or the web activity report?
Nope.
Can I just, like maybe after, I guess it would be after next month, then we can get like an annual summary of the data.
Sure. Yep.
I think that would be helpful. Cause you're putting it in that spreadsheet already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So,
it's not this
not the
one.
web activity,
No, sorry, the library data,
right.
no, the web, not the web activity. Thank you.
Okay, did everybody have an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from April 3rd? I did not put the meeting minutes from April 30th or 28th like on
The
here,
20th.
cause I figured
Yeah,
we weren't quite ready for that yet, but April 3rd.
I have.
Any, questions or, changes that you would like to see made to the meeting minutes? Hearing no, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 3rd minutes.
May I have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? All,
Abstain.
abstaining? Thank you.
No problem.
So it's 501, so.
And can I just say, I was a little delinquent at posting the minutes on the town website, so, they're on there through March, and then I'll put this
That's
one.
fine, and I would say, I think we're probably doing okay, so don't,
Better than some committees,
so
that's for
don't
sure.
like put too much pressure on yourself,
Yeah.
so. Establishing a Friends of the Library, we are trying to get a meeting scheduled for next week. Tom, I added you to the list,
Saw that.
so if you can reply back with your availability to Whitney. Trying to get a meeting set for the week of like May 12th, so, not much new to report there. But clicking along, you know,
Yeah.
so hopefully we'll see some, more progress after this meeting next week or the week after the next meeting gets scheduled, so, yeah. 2025 scholarship, so, scholarship applications closed last night, like at midnight. Do we feel like we are in a position to evaluate scholarship applications today, or would you like to wait?
I'm comfortable with proceeding. I do have some feedback, and I would like the trustees to think about this going forward so that we can evaluate of our timeline. So today is decision day for colleges, and we have on our form requests of kind of where they're intending to go, and it will be reflective on some applicants of undecided, because today is the decision day, for many. It is a busy time for seniors, so we had discussions with regards to aligning it with Quabbin's awards, but Quabbin awards are at the very beginning of March, and they request even names and decisions by February, which would mean we'd really want the applications out and received by no later than the end of January, if we were to align with Quabbin's information request. Other schools are more flexible, so I know that, Monty Tech, for instance, is not until the end of May that they are having their awards night. I think that we have a little bit more freedom, especially where our scholarship is likewise not isolated towards high school seniors. So I would request that all, trustees reflect on the changes that we made this year and see what seems to fit the feel of Hubbardston Library for scholarships as well, and what we would like to do there, because there are benefits to everything, and what works for the best time. Some feedback, I did reach out to a number of families, and I had anticipated at minimum 3, thinking that we'd actually have 5 applicants. Having sent out a message last night, they were like, I thought my kid was doing it, but honestly, this is just crazy time. This is busy. So I was anticipating at least 2 other families having submitted that were unable to do so. So that is feedback that I will share with the trustees.
Do you have recommendations moving forward?
I think that is up for discussion, and we should think about it, of how we wanna do a message. So I think in part, there will always be that, oh, I have time if we announce like a month in advance, and people will always wait until the last minute, and it's just a busy time of the year. So I don't know the best answer. I think that when we waited until the end of June and then we're announcing that kids were kind of, especially, I keep saying kids, but we've gotten a lot of high school seniors, they're starting to move off into other things.
Yeah.
So there's a disadvantage to that. I will say as a parent of a senior, right now, it's crazy. There's so much coming at us. It's a lot. So I don't know that end of April, beginning of May is a good time, or the month of May is a good time at all.
I have a question. We moved it for this year to April, right? How does the number of applicants, 3, compared to what you got? in
Not
June?
bad. I think
It's
it's
about
actually
the
really
same.
good, about the
Yeah,
same,
so
if not,
Maybe,
I think-
yeah.
you know,
Is it worth reaching out to, like, Country Hen Scholarship to kind of just have a discussion with them about, like, what kind of, like, numbers they're getting in their applications?
Very
and-
similar. I
so
will
they
say
are
the
similar?
Hubbardson Cash Committee scholarships, they similarly are like, hey, we got 1, 2, let's see and let's reach out to all the people that we know.
And their deadline's similar to this
And
one.
with this year, I know a lot of seniors, so I pegged their families a couple times. So it was easier in that regard of getting interest and knowing that there were families engaged this year. So I don't know. And I did hear back that Quabbin did distribute information. I did hear that Monty Tech distributed. There were no seniors at Parker or Sizer.
Okay. No, Hubbardson seniors, yes.
Hubbard's qualified, but they had the information.
I feel like it doesn't matter, like, one applicant put like 3 different schools, so, you know, that doesn't
Exactly,
bother
yeah.
me,
I
that they
don't
don't
either.
know where
Yeah.
they're going, and I feel like, this is the time when they're probably applying for other scholarships and things, so I feel like when it was later, people weren't really that interested.
So scholarships, I would say, start from anywhere from November, December.
Oh.
Heavy in January and
Oh,
February.
so way earlier.
Way earlier.
So maybe, so potentially thinking about doing it more in, like, January, February,
When it's
when
possibly
people-
in their
more in their sight.
wheelhouse in
Yeah.
sight.
maybe have a March 1st, or the first week in March as the deadline.
Yeah, something like
Cause
that.
isn't there a February vacation or whatever?
There is a
so
February
that
vacation.
people are not even gonna be thinking about this at all, I think.
And I know one of the things we had talked about, I think, Tom, you brought this up, would be an opportunity to do like a town celebration, right, of
On
our
the
ce-
awards end.
on the awards end,
Exactly.
right? But that doesn't necessarily have to be, that means we could still do a call in January, February, even if the award ceremony is in May, right? Like, so even if the Country Hen is doing March through now, like, if there's an award ceremony, they could wait,
Or
we could
maybe
still
at
do
the
ours
town
earlier,
meeting,
you know?
maybe, I don't know if they'd want us to dedicate time for that.
Other thoughts and feedback, if we move the date, for instance, to like beginning week of March or something like that, and we have that deadline, we also have the reception to where throughout the month of March, then we have a chance as trustees to review, and at the April meeting, to be prepared to discuss. So it isn't like last night's deadline, today review. We thought that, sorry, that was
Yeah,
on me,
that
I
was-
think.
No, I think that was on
Well, it's just the
all of
meeting
us.
was really early
The
this
meeting was
month,
early,
that's all.
so.
Yeah, so it just
Just happened to.
happens that way. So if we did it in that manner though, it would allow those reflections. Just thought.
I think that's good.
I mean, I think for me, my perspective is, I would like as many students to apply as possible. You know, just to kind of give students the opportunity to get a scholarship. So if that means that they're thinking about it in January, then I would advocate moving it to January, you know, with a deadline of March or something, just so it aligns with what people are doing, you know.
I think having the information out there, especially since we've done it annually, it will grow and people will start being more aware of it. I'm much more comfortable, I think, moving it to January, as you had suggested, have a beginning of March deadline, give them that time frame, and then having our time to reflect with a decision being made in April. That would be my proposal.
So,
And seeing how it goes, and then we can reflect from there.
so announce in January, moving the deadline to March 1st and decide at the April meeting. Is that what you said?
How does dollar amount play into all this? What's the cash committee provide?
I think the cash committee was $1,000, but I don't know because I don't have the information, so
Mhm.
I'm just literally pulling it from my head.
And Diane?
I
I'm
have
not
to,
sure.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find that.
Well, we're not crazy out of line.
No.
It is
So,
$1,000 to one or more Hubbardston students pursuing the country hen. And you said there's a cash one too, there's a third? Or is that
So-
the country hen?
there was the
Cash is,
cash is another one, and I don't, they're 1,000, and I don't know if they have more than one. I think they may have, but I think it depends on the year,
So you're saying
I
there's a
don't know.
cash committee?
So I know
Is
Um,
it the Hubbardston cash
I've been
committee?
here with
Fleming
two.
and Young were running it. I think they may be stepping down now, but they were, but Hubbardston Cash Committee Civic Group.
Committee for Academic Scholarships of Hubbardston or something like that.
Yeah,
I
so
think
Something
I
like that.
apologize
Try
that
to
they
make
just,
that up.
It's a civic association scholarship for Hubbardston?
That's it.
I think that sounds like
That
it.
was civic
I saw
association?
something posted on March of 2023.
I thought
I didn't see
it was
any
more
announcements
formal
I have
known
not
as the
seen any.
Cash Committee, and they had at the rec field day, they've done like the fried toad, they've done breakfast. So we do have that as well as the Hubbardston Community Theater. Hubbardston Community Theater, I will say, has had a very small, tight, but their pool is of the theater families, and for graduating seniors, so they're lucky if they get like 1 to 2 applicants. Sometimes at most they'll get like 3. They have had the weird odd years to where they have a lot of graduating seniors. But they likewise have said usually it's a very narrow pool, and even those that would be eligible, those that will actually apply are a different number.
I think that, because I'm a member of a riding club, it's in Barry, which encompasses Quabbin. It's not limited to high school kids, it's everybody going secondary. We don't get a flood of, all the horse shows and things are run to raise money for scholarships, and we don't get a flood of
Yeah.
applicants either. I don't know what their due date is, or I can't remember, what
Yeah.
the cutoff is, but I have a feeling it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. If you're depending on your kid to do it, it probably
Exactly.
isn't gonna happen.
Exactly.
Anyway.
True.
Maybe try to
So they
advertise to
offer
the adult
three,
population.
1,000.
Yeah. But I saw 2023, so I didn't see an announcement for this
I
year.
went on Facebook.
Oh, is it?
Okay, the
It's on
country
Facebook.
hen,
It's on
and what was
Facebook.
the other,
Okay.
the name of the other one?
Hubbardston Scholarship Committee.
Okay.
And we do 500, which, to me, I think there's a little bit of a difference between us and Country Hen and Hubbardston Cash Committee, like we're taking this out of our donations account, so, we're making a charitable donation as a charitable
And
organization.
Yeah, I mean,
And we do 2, at least 2,
and there are scholarships anywhere from like minor ones of $25, $50 and things like that that my son has applied to up to beyond. So I know that there are scholarships range in all different dollars.
Pays for textbooks or partial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the riding club is $500.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're applying if you're in the zone for applying for scholarships, like a lot of times it's just minor tweaks to the
Yeah.
application that you need to make. So I'm still comfortable with like a $500
Yeah.
I am too.
scholarship. But I'm definitely open to moving it to
Okay.
January
I would
if we
propose
think
for
it's gonna
20,
get more people.
I would propose for 2026 that we at least try and see how that goes and then
Yeah.
reevaluate from there.
Yeah. Alright.
And then evaluation of the 3 applicants.
Yeah.
And refer to as applicant 1, 2, 3 as they came. Did trustees have a chance or would they like additional time to review the applications?
For some reason, I don't have access to them.
Oh,
I can't open them.
I think they may be in a meeting. If I can call them up.
I have printed versions if you would like.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Thank you.
They don't open for you in the meeting, in the
in case.
Could everyone
I
else?
did see one of them,
Oh.
so I don't know if opening it, closed it, I don't know. I saw one, I think it was
I
number
was trying to
3.
read the
Yeah.
rubric from
Look
that
out.
and I couldn't.
You couldn't
I
read the-
did make an edit to the rubric as far as the year.
Yes, that's all
Yeah,
that,
thank you. I just sent that other one out, cause I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
know,
I
and I
need to
didn't
look at
even-
it.
You did all of
I
them?
didn't even
Yeah,
think.
I had 3.
I'm going to step aside to
If you
the
wanna
restroom for a
see
minute.
it.
I can see
Pardon?
it here. Some collaborators need access to the file.
Yeah, this is the one I
It
saw.
was, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's
So-
nonsense again.
Let me just see if I can get into,
Here, I'm in, I.
are you in, can you,
Yeah.
are you able to
Let me
make sure?
just, I'll just say anybody with the link, right?
Can
It does say
edit?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, can view, okay.
Well, you can make a copy though, so if
Right,
you go to file
right.
and you can
Do you
make a
wanna see the
copy if you wanna
Right.
download your own.
Well, I
So
saw
the
that.
rubric
Saw
should be
this one.
okay, let me
Okay,
check
so
the
who
other
did you
ones.
see?
I didn't see this one.
So you saw this one,
I'll just look at it real quick.
okay, cause it's easier to.
Applicant 3, I just added like at 5:30 when I got home from work, like I just put it into the agenda, cause we didn't have it until like earlier this morning, cause it came in like last night at the last minute, so.
This the one, there was somebody that had one word I could not read.
Yeah,
I could,
the, what they were
This one.
studying.
I think, what is that?
Oh. I think it says ebooks.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Oh, maybe, oh, I bet it's events. A lot of people just
Events.
copied that,
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to read that. I think in general, I don't know, I thought all
I don't
three
know
of
how
them
to,
looked really good.
share these.
Yeah,
Oh, here it is.
appropriate.
Quick share, copy.
Go to my agenda, what can I see? Can I access it? I do have all mine up from my Gmail account.
Share with others, okay. Okay, only people with the link, oh, I see, like Chris is not on here.
I don't need it
Yes.
though. Oh,
No,
Chris,
sorry.
the other Chris, Chris K, sorry, my bad.
I think the problem is this folder is not,
Oh, so I didn't go, you're right, I probably did not go through it. I go through all the time and like check the sharing things and
Yeah.
finding, I was like,
but these are, like,
They're
you
all
have to put them in
shared.
Google Docs first
Yes.
and then share, I think that
Okay.
was the problem, I can just do that. Yeah, it's confusing.
So should I get the agendas from Google Docs and open it? Cause I opened it from the email.
that would be a Google Doc though. Cause the link is a Google Doc that,
All the other links are working.
okay. I think it's probably just the permissions, I probably, like I said, I usually like I double check all the links and they, at one point they were, like I was just, like, they're working and so I was like, oh, this is gonna work. So I just put it in, so, sorry.
That happens to me all the
So,
time.
You should be able to share the folder, right?
You
So
can't
you
share,
were
you
able to
can't
see
share.
them, right?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
it through the email.
Okay, okay.
Cause that came before
Yeah,
your
okay,
thing with the rubric, so I didn't think I needed to read it again.
okay.
Including last night's submission.
Okay. Yeah, I think we, I just need to update the whole, like some old names are still on there and new names need to be added for some of these folders, I thought we had done that.
I think it's hard because you have to do it on every folder level,
Yeah,
so. But it should be, everyone should be able to view.
yeah, I think think the problem was that those were PDFs or something, we
Mhm.
kept opening Google Docs and then sharing, maybe, I don't know,
Right.
we can check it.
Yeah, are people ready to discuss applicant one?
How do we know we're all talking about the same
Applicant one would be based on the agenda.
That's applicant one.
So,
That's it, okay.
yes.
Cause we're being recorded.
No,
so-
I
yeah,
understand that, I just
okay.
wanted to make
Wanna
sure I
know
had the
which
right
one,
one
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yep, yeah, so, just in the interest of privacy, just, you know.
Yeah, no, that's
when we-
fine, I just-
When we discuss applicants.
We have to all
let's
know
not-
which is
I
applicant
really
one.
do
We
know
need to
who
know
we're
who-
talking
we need to know
about.
who they are, and we're gonna go based on the list in the agenda of who applicant one is. And then there was, so there's 4 main parts of the rubric. Morgan, how do you want to handle the assessment of
I
this?
don't want to this year.
Okay. Alright, we'll just kinda go through this, okay, so.
Numbers, general
So-
discussion?
General discussion for applicant number 1. When we talk about the organization and completeness of the application. I gave the applicant a 3, I probably wanted to give them a 4. And the only reason why I did not give them a 5 for organization is that I didn't see a clear discussion of the career goals. I saw what they were planning to major in, but I did not see what they were hoping to do as a career. So that precluded me from giving them a 5. I gave them a 3, but I can easily.
Would like to do 5.
I could
Yeah.
do a 4, so.
Is this one?
Yes.
Do we wanna like add up the numbers?
We will.
I guess we could,
Or
yeah.
you can do, you're gonna do that, okay.
For the personal essay, I gave applicant 1 a 5. I thought it was an outstanding essay. I thought it really demonstrated the, how they used the library and how they engaged with the library, not only at Hubbardston Public Library, but their school library, and then how they took what they learned from the public library and applied it to and implemented programs at the school library. I thought it was an outstanding essay about library use, you know, so I got a 5 I gave them a 5 on that. Library use statement, I thought I gave them a 5, it seemed like they used the library in many ways. I don't know if they had a CW Mars card, I don't know if you were able
Yeah.
to gather that data, but I'm guessing they did.
Applicant 1, yes. Applicant 2, yes. Applicant 3, no.
Okay. So, yes to Mars card, and then it seemed like that they, you know, the applicant had used a library, Hubbardston Public Library staff member as a reference, so I feel like they were known by the patron, so. They scored 5s across the board with the exception of completeness of application, and that's only because they didn't discuss career goals.
Well,
for
actually,
me.
They're listed,
Last
Yeah,
paragraph.
the last paragraph, I
Oh,
thought.
did I miss it?
oh, in the
It says after high
essay,
school, ... and then it goes on to say what the major is gonna be and what they intend to, but not a specific job, but where they're
Go down
headed
to the
with that
bottom of
major.
the essay.
and also it's on
Oh, is
the
it?
educational data.
Keep going.
No, that's,
Oh, that's,
no, up,
oh, I thought that was the, oh,
Page
that's the
3
letter.
of 4,
yeah,
it's the
3 or 4,
bottom paragraph,
bottom.
page 3.
Oh, okay, so they plan to major in computer science, okay, then I'll change mine to all 5s then, so.
Okay.
So that's kinda where I landed.
Chris B, do you have like a weighted score possibly for applicant 1, 2, 3? Of use of library? Not just card, but use. So I'm familiar with at least applicant 1 in the
Does-
library,
Applicant 1 does use the library.
applicant 2 or 3,
Applicant 2, maybe, the problem is now that I'm in the back office, I don't see all the
Yeah.
time. They've had a card since 2011.
Yeah.
And while the third one does not, they have volunteered at the library for community service many times over the years. So while they may not have a library card, there
they've been
is
in, and they've been there.
you know, the 1 and 3 have, a relationship with library staff. It is possible that applicant 2 has it, I just have never seen them,
Okay.
although I know them.
How many scholarships
do up to two, so
Oh.
we can decide whether,
Oh.
you know,
Oh, boy,
to do one or two.
I think they're almost,
So-
all three of them I thought were very good.
Didn't one year we do three?
Yeah, so
year we did do
one of my challenges is that I know all three. I don't feel comfortable speaking with regards to applicant 1, 2, 3. However, I feel a little bit better hearing from you guys because I was like reading across, I'm like, they're all, like in years past, we've had some distinctions and then we've had some similarities. I feel like all three applicants are very, very similar. What I was kinda leaning towards the end, I'm sorry, Chris B, was like, is there a tiebreaker with regards to library use and weighted library cards or things like that that we could use? If the trustees are comfortable, we could move quickly if there's a comfort with extending our donations budget to 3 scholarships versus 2. I don't know how trustees feel, but I'm happy to have further discussion with regards to applications.
What is in our scholarships account?
So without updated information,
We don't really have a scholarship
This comes out of donations,
donation.
and knowing that we're gonna be doing renovations and all that,
Yeah.
right, so.
I feel like applicant 3, didn't put as much effort into.
I struggled with their essay.
The essay didn't have any, it was about them, which was very nice, but it wasn't really about them and the library.
okay.
So I would say I felt like the essay in applicant 3 was also the weakest essay.
Well, it just didn't really
Anyway.
match what we were asking for.
Right, it didn't align.
Okay.
Aren't we
Chris,
missing
if somebody's using the library just electronically, like an ebook or something like that, you wouldn't
I wouldn't know.
know, and it wouldn't show up
Correct.
in your statistics, so.
But they'd have to have a card to be able to do that.
But
Right.
the whole thing would be like in the cloud somewhere, so you wouldn't even know, really, you know what I mean?
True. You're right, there is no way if they are purely accessing the library through electronics that I would know who they were, what they were doing. So that is a possibility, but they do need a card to be able to access any of the electronic stuff.
Right, but if they did all of that electronically,
Mm-hmm.
they're not interacting with anybody
True.
that you, I'm sure you don't
Yeah.
have time to go through
Yeah.
this and see.
That was just
click
put
There
in
is
in
no-
case we needed a
absolutely-
tiebreaker, that's not really part of
There
what
is
they're.
absolutely no
Yeah.
way I could find out who's doing what, because
Right.
the whole concept of the library is you
Yes.
get anonymity in
Right.
utilizing it, so any data I get is these books, you know, there was X number of books checked out
Right,
by Hubbardston
Right.
card holders, but I can't tell you who they are.
so the person who we think maybe doesn't have a card, maybe does,
Oh, no,
So
it would show up in the system that there would be a card there.
okay.
It didn't seem like applicant number 3 had a reference included.
There was one.
I think there was. Maybe not a
Same
reference,
page?
maybe
There
not a
was.
reference letter,
Oh,
but
yeah.
a reference
Yeah.
listed.
There was
Right on the
definitely a
front.
reference
Yeah.
listed, yep.
That
We-
person doesn't need to submit
Is this
a-
applicant?
No, it's
No.
not required,
Yeah.
I think only one applicant submitted a reference
Yeah.
letter,
Yeah,
right?
she has a reference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all had references.
They weren't required to submit a letter.
A letter,
Yeah.
okay. That makes it hard,
It does.
equalizes the field.
So, in review of like library card, and awareness of library card, there is balance towards applicant 1 and 2 of known card users. An additional weight though of applicant 3 of being known in the library as a volunteer, of weight that is in the favor of applicant 3.
So, but that is also based on personal knowledge,
Yes.
right? And so there was an opportunity
Of
for
statement.
for the candidate to include that information in their essay, which they did not do, right? So.
I agree. I agree with regards to the essay of feedback with regards to the essays of the essays, applicant 1 and 2 were a little bit higher, easier to read than applicant 3.
But they also, the essay was focused on what we were asking about.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so if I had to like weigh, and I struggle with this, so I'm having a hard time saying so,
Mm-hmm.
sorry guys. But I would weigh towards 1 and 2.
I mean, if we're using the
Right, a little bit.
rubric, you know, and saying we want these certain things, that's why we're giving the scholarship, then I agree with you.
Right. The way my rubric worked out, 1 and 2 scored higher than 3. But I don't know how other people's rubrics worked out.
Mine is
I'm
right there,
comfortable
too.
with that with 2 awards.
You really can't afford to do 3?
I asked the question, I didn't even answer, is there a money amount?
It's $500.
No, no, in the fund.
No.
So in the, currently in our, sorry,
Last time I looked, it was 19,000 or something.
I would say we could consider that, but if they're not, if it's not a complete application, you know, I mean,
there's 14,000 in the donation account.
And
Yeah.
that's highly committed,
It's not committed, you know, I
no,
mean, we
highly,
could, I guess,
earmarked.
I would say we have renovations coming up, which we have, hopefully we'll be getting some CPC grants for, but we may have to dip into the donation account. And I guess from my perspective, I don't think applicant 3 had the caliber of application that 1 and 2 had. I think to me there's a distinction between the two, but that, again, but I'm just one person, so.
Well, I
So-
think the thing that struck me about applicant 3 was that she used books to point her in the direction of where she wanted to go. And maybe this was all a lot more, you know, sort of practical everyday things that's not at the library, but the books really made a difference to this person.
I also
So-
particularly like probably the very last sentence
Okay, I have
of
to
their
read that
essay.
again.
can I just
Yeah.
read over your
Oh,
shoulder?
please, go right
Mhm.
ahead.
Yes.
I think there's a difference in the facility with English language, that is
I
the
didn't know if we
difference.
could ask
Not
that
in a,
question.
the difference is not in the commitment to reading and books,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I thought of it.
There were like, if I had to get super nitty picky, so when I was trying to do my numbers, I actually pulled in, like trying to do like a Grammarly, like, overlook on essays. So there's that avenue of assessing the essays, but then there are certain times to where certain things stand out, and I will say, particularly like the third applicant, the last sentence, so I also struggle with this group because I think they're fabulous young adults.
It's hard when you know them, I'm
It's
just
hard
looking
when
at
I
it
know
Well,
them.
online.
I don't know any of them, I don't know
Yeah.
their families and I
Yeah.
don't know them, but I think the image to me of this kid,
Yes.
you know,
I think that was it, was
Focusing on it,
the way images
yeah.
got conveyed through an essay.
yeah, and I'm not saying anything less important about the other two,
Mhm.
I would vote for 3, but then,
I hear you.
you know, I'm only gonna be a trustee for another month, so. You know, I don't know how much weight that carried.
Not knowing them, I was less impressed with number 3. I didn't do the rubric because I
Mhm.
hadn't seen them until I read them now. But, and I don't know if I can ask this question about language.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I think there was intent in the essay, but the language was weak. And if English isn't that individual's first language, he or she did a good job.
Am I looking at the same one?
Yeah, I didn't mean that they didn't, you know, have English as a first language, I just meant the facility of writing and.
I feel
What
like
I'm saying is,
essays,
I wondered that when I read
applicants 1
them.
and 2 were stronger in the essay.
Yeah, and there's a different career
Yes.
path for those.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
there's a,
I think one is not more important than the other, that's.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the career path is, like, I'm fine with career path. I'm just not sure that I felt like the applicant 3 and addressed the essay in the way that we had asked them to. Which now, looking back, what did we ask specifically?
And maybe we have to be more specific, but it was really hard to read that, the handwriting on the application. Which, you know, but that is something on the rubric, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
usually pretty flexible about that, but it is something on the rubric.
I think they don't even teach longhand anymore.
No,
I think
no.
everybody types everything or dictates or,
Yeah.
you know, asks Google or something.
wasn't AI, that's for sure.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
It was authentic. I mean, if we're using the rubric, we need to go by the criteria that's listed. It gets clouded when you know them and
It
you go
does.
there.
I don't know them. And when I read them, I was a little bit influenced by their chosen field of study. I'm a numbers and technology guy. And I admit to a bias against things that aren't numbers and physics. And then I thought about it, and I said, that's completely unfair. And I have a real hard time splitting hairs between these three. From the point of view of what books was in their life.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. You said it better, but that's what I mean.
What was the last thing you said, I'm sorry?
Sorry, I'm mumbling.
No.
I said I found it to be very difficult to distinguish or split hairs between these three applicants, based, if you look at the foundation of what books meant to their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone should be encouraged to read books.
I agree.
Do we want, okay, so I feel like we've had a discussion about, do we want to take a vote on each of the applicants to decide if we're going to fund them or not?
Can we do that, do we have to decide whether we could do all three first? Or no?
Yeah, I think-
To see how the vote goes and then discuss it.
If,
A
how about,
predecessor would be-
I would propose, why don't we see by trustee vote if we would like to extend the donation amount and exceed our anticipation of 2 scholarships to 3. If the trustees vote in favor of extending it, we have a discussion on, do we want to award all 3? If we as trustees vote not in favor of extending the donations account from 2 scholarships to 3, meaning that we keep it at 2 scholarships only, then we have and proceed with a discussion of which 2 applicants are awarded.
So you said there was $1,400?
Thousand.
Do you guys feel comfortable with first voting whether or not to extend?
Can
That's
I-
the first step.
Can I
So-
have a motion to extend the scholarship fund from $1,000 to $1,500?
I will make a motion to extend.
I'll second that.
All in favor of extending the scholarship promotion fund from $1,000 to $1,500, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So 510. So we're going to extend these application scholarship fund to $1,500.
The second motion that I would like to propose is a motion to, well, I suppose we don't need to.
We
do
don't
a
need to,
motion
all,
on that.
all, they're
Never
all
mind.
funded.
Okay.
So they're all funded, so all 3 applicants receive
Well,
funding.
Well, yes, so we extend it, then it would be a vote of, do we want to award all 3? So a motion of, do we want to award all 3 to, just to make sure that we're clear on this, but a motion by the trustees to award all 3 applicants, now that we've extended the budget. So a motion to award all 3 applicants a scholarship. Do I have that?
I'll second. It's like, just like my footnote. I'll
So,
second.
so you made the motion?
To award all 3.
All in favor? All opposed? So 4-2, motion carries, all 3 applications will be funded. Give Krista a second to catch up.
That's, I think it's
Take your
okay.
time.
You can go on to the next thing, I'll just.
The next item on the agenda is a potential collaboration with the Gardner Community Action Committee, Center's Community Action Committee. With the idea of offering a pop-up food pantry in the library. Just a little bit about the Gardner Community Action Center. They do multiple things throughout the region. They do backpacks for kids, they do delivery, like they drive seniors to appointments, they have a large food security program, and they serve Gardner, Westminster, Hubbardston, Templeton, Ashburnham, and one other town that escapes my name at the moment. And I just happened to be talking with their community engagement person, and she had mentioned that they've been having a difficult time getting inroads with food security in Hubbardston. And she had mentioned that they do a pop-up food pantry throughout the region where they go to a place in a town for 2 hours, like once a month, and they bring like meats, vegetables, breads, canned goods, and stuff like that at the pop-up food pantry. So when I was talking to her, I mentioned that we have at the library, and that I would bring it back to you all to see if this is something that you would like to pursue. In the email that's in the agenda, it kind of outlines there's not a lot of work that we would have to do as a library, and we just need to provide us the space for it. They provide the setup. We might need to provide 2 tables, so but they would provide the setup, doing the food, they do the management and all that. So I just wanted to bring it back to you all for discussion about whether or not we think this is something that is we want to pursue, whether it's doable in the library space, you know, and just kind of general kind of thoughts about that.
I personally absolutely love it.
I also like it. I think we need to do a couple things. It'll be a new thing, so we really have to do something in the way of advertising, with their help, I presume, but the other thing I would do it in the lower level, if people are carrying things in and out of the building, avoiding the front steps is pretty important. And it gives us a reason to utilize the lower level and have people come and view it and talk about what we can do down there.
As long as it's in line with and does not inconvenience or burden the library staff and director, I personally feel it's extremely valuable for our community and residents.
I did reach out to our program director, and she said this sounds like a great idea. She's all for it, I'm all for it. They will send us flyers, so we can certainly advertise that on Facebook, Instagram, around the various, like the post office and all the other little places that let you put up flyers, so.
Yeah, and I can see where we could send an email out through the town listserv, and maybe put something on the monitor.
Senior center.
The senior center, and then on the electric board out there to kind of help advertise it. I think in her email she said, like, you know, we would do like a 3-month trial, see how it works out, you know. She likes the idea of the library because it's a fairly neutral place. They have done some pop-up food pantries, like at a senior center in another town, and whether it's, I think perhaps town members felt that it was only something for the seniors and not for the entire community, so they were only hitting a small population and not the entire population. So that's why she was definitely interested in the library as a space, cause, you know, we serve all ages, so.
One additional collaboration that I would foresee, I've heard on multiple occasions for decades plus, is the Montechusett Opportunities Council has pop-up playgroups at the Parks and Rec when it's, or at Curtis Rec when the weather's nice. Is in past they have also done kindergarten readiness bags and things like that. is working with one of their biggest missions is promoting literacy as well, is providing information about their programs, including WIC and other information and networking, is just to be able to have information and resources from them available at these events that would likewise benefit similar
I think,
demographics.
I think that's a great idea, cause what I've heard from Gardner is that, they're getting more and more questions about housing,
Yes.
right, they're getting more and more questions about citizenship. The need that people are expressing is increasing significantly for them, so, and even like, in talking about this food pantry, they were talking about how, like, they get money from the Worcester, or they get food from the Worcester food pantry that comes up, and in, past years, if they got a shipment, it would last them like 6 weeks, and now it's lasting them like 3 weeks, because the
Demand.
demand and the food insecurity is increasing significantly.
This is good.
Correct.
This is
Yes.
Gardner. So, so I think any information we can, like, additional information that can be provided from Mock, so that if someone comes to get food, they can also pick up information about like housing or
Yeah.
children play dates or whatever, I think would be beneficial.
The other additional one that serves Hubbardston is the Rutland Food Pantry that we're part of, so having information available on hand for those that have access to transportation that can get there. So sometimes transportation is an issue, but having information, because I feel like that's a big mission of the libraries, and how we can serve the community. I agree that, libraries can be much more open to all demographics. I'm grateful that the library staff are open to it, because I think it's a very beneficial use.
But on the other hand, we don't want the library staff having to step.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly,
So-
which
And I think that is-
in
Yeah.
reading
They'll be
their
volunteers.
details,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
It's a matter of the space, but it's also a matter of the culture of the library. But I also feel like envisioning what a library is to a community, and what they do and their missions, I think it's in line with library.
I would hope on pantry day our staff is busy checking out books.
Yeah.
Question, is the downstairs usable for this kind of thing now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cause we're not gonna be getting these grants anytime soon and
Right.
flooring and all that anytime
Yeah.
soon.
Right.
So if we can use it the way it is now,
I think it would be a benefit right now of showing that we already have use as well.
right, no, but
And before,
I'm not
before it
against
might
doing it.
impact.
I was just
Mhm.
wondering, because we have this space in town,
Yeah.
that if you're gonna trip over old, pieces of wood over there, then maybe it really should be here, in this building. Not that we shouldn't do it in town,
Yeah.
but if the space in the
Yeah.
library is not a hazard to people that
I
are
mean,
going.
at that point where we're undergoing renovation,
Yeah.
I think we may need to find an alternative location, or we, do something on the first floor of the
Mhm.
library, or come here or something, but I think we can
And-
start in the basement.
and it
So-
is one of those things to revisit when when we, even after remodeling, when we start using that space of envisioning how it's used or shared space, it might not work then, but for now.
So you said something about a 3-month trial, so trustees support a 3-month trial, would it be over the summer, we don't know?
We haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah,
They
I
sent
mean-
the letter, they wanna meet with us.
Right.
They still
Yeah.
have to talk to the Hubbardston Board of Health.
Right.
Yep.
So,
So-
things like this don't
Takes a
usually
little
happen
while.
in like a couple of weeks, it usually takes a couple months.
But I'm just wondering, like, sooner could be better because we might be renovating,
Yeah. Sure.
hopefully.
Yep.
So they'll I have the letter, so I'll take some information from them.
Yeah, and it's once a month for 2 hours, right, so even if we had to
That's true.
reconfigure the library for a little bit for 2 hours, I don't know if that's reasonable or not.
Sure.
Like if we had to,
Yep.
Well, then you run into the accessibility problem of the
Mhm.
stairs and whatever, so if you can get them in the basement,
Mhm.
Yep, that would be the ideal, so.
Thank you
Alright.
for running into them.
Yeah.
I've heard of this occurring very successfully in other libraries too,
Mhm.
fairly recently. So I'm happy, I don't wanna say that we're on par with some larger ones, but I know of it taking place down in Connecticut very successfully. And that's a much larger library.
I guess, make a motion to approve collaborating with the Gardner Community Action Committee.
I second it.
Okay, and
For a 3-month trial.
Sorry. For a 3-month trial, yes.
Ready to
Would you
vote.
like to?
I'm ready to vote.
I'm ready to vote too.
You don't get to vote twice, it's
I'll,
a lot.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, 0, 0, so.
So the motion was made by Connie,
Yes.
second by,
I got
Oh,
it,
you-
and I just.
You can make the
No,
motion,
you
Tom.
made the
Sorry.
motion.
Oh.
No.
I think I was asking for a motion, and I think I was just.
Okay, then Tom made the motion and I second it.
You made the motion.
Morgan.
Let's not falsify our record.
And then Tom
You
made
were
Tom.
super excited.
Thank you.
Alright, clicking along, I've been in contact with Wendy Frontiero, who did some building assessment work for us a year and a half ago. About coming through and doing another site visit that would really look at the interior of the building and presenting us with some information about, like, when we do renovations, what should we make sure we don't get rid of, you know, in relation to the historical nature of the building versus, you know, what could be modified. We currently have $800 left in our CIPC, so Capital Improvement Planning Committee grant. That provided funds for us to hire a consultant to assess the building. I reached out to her and, you know, told her that we had $800 left. That if she was interested, we could pay her $800 plus mileage. She did send us along a proposal of what she would plan to cover. And so I guess I would like to open this up for discussion as to whether or not you would like to hire Wendy to kind of do this final kind of review, to kind of just ensure that, you know, we don't take out some like really classic historical crown molding that we ought to keep. You know.
I make a motion because she's familiar with the library.
Yeah.
She wrote a beautiful, comprehensive report last time. I think her familiarity with the library would be of benefit, I thought. So I'm completely in favor and I very much appreciate her following up and so making contact.
So, Christie, you're seconding the motion
Yeah.
to approve this? Okay. All in favor of approving the proposal to hire Wendy to come back to do an assessment? Okay, 600. She's currently in, well, she can come in June is when she can come. So, do we have, are there any dates that are really, we should not, like Tom, you should probably maybe be around, Chris, you should probably be around when she comes to do the visit. Are there dates that we find that would not be helpful, or not, you know, just,
The
we just.
weekend before, the weekend of Father's Day,
Okay.
Friday to Sunday, that's the only time in June that's bad for me.
Okay,
That's the 14th, 15th.
okay,
I guess the same.
okay,
You have 4 kids.
yeah, so.
She's coming in
You want some more?
June or
Come on.
July?
She would become, I think I asked her to come in June,
June.
only because I would like to kind of have the
Right,
report
right,
a
right.
little bit ready, so that when we have town meeting,
Mhm.
maybe we don't have the report, but we could say we are doing this, and then also, if the funding is approved at town meeting, we're not waiting on her to come and do an assessment. So
Mhm.
I would like all
Yeah.
of this to kind of happen in June if possible.
And I'm sorry, do we have to pay the, is I thought I saw it in there, is $800 enough for the whole thing, or we're gonna pay the
It's $800
mileage?
plus mileage, yes.
Right, so
Yeah.
we'll just pay that out of our.
I think we'll just
Yeah.
pay that out of
That's
like
fine.
donation,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
That's why I was anticipating mileage is
like
Right,
it'll be
that's-
maybe like another $200 or something
Yeah,
like
okay,
that,
that's
so.
fine.
She's coming from Salem,
Gloucester.
I think.
Said her letterhead is Gloucester.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, Gloucester.
If that's where she's.
Yeah.
That is,
actually-
yes,
she
you're
was-
correct,
Maybe
she
she's
is
living
Gloucester.
closer.
No.
So, okay, so I will reach back out to her and just try and maybe Chris and Tom, I'll include you on the email, just so we can figure out a date
Well,
for a site
I'm
visit.
open.
Okay. I'll still put you guys on the email that way.
Oh, yes, please.
She comes down and she says something and you're like, oh no, like, I've got a dentist appointment that day, avoid it, so. Alright, go ahead.
I was going to say with regards, so we did have a meeting on Tuesday, which the lovely power cut out on us.
Is it me?
Are you
You
kept
didn't lose power?
Of course.
Wow.
I was a surprise, I'm sitting there pushing buttons
I
and
know.
everything froze.
Where
I
is
think
everyone?
because where I am, the power comes from a different place, cause you guys are on the other side of town.
Okay.
You're on the
It
other
was
side of
beyond
68.
our town too, that
It
we lost
went
power.
beyond because we're on the house is on the Westminster line and Dave lost power.
Yeah.
The library is on the Barry line
Oh, I
and
know
we
too.
lost power.
Oh,
Athol,
I lost power.
Templeton,
Templeton.
Orange lost power.
Oh, I don't know, I always thought it was from Barry, but
It came back so fast though,
Very.
that
Yeah,
was
there
what
was
was
too much
strange.
change.
Did I say
Yeah.
Barry? I meant Gardner. I'm sorry.
That's
The
all right.
main street is on
Yeah.
the Gardner line coming.
yeah, but I think that, cause I'm so far, west of that, I think
Mhm.
that I'm on Barry, I think.
Could be.
I'm not sure,
Aliens.
but I didn't lose power, so whatever it was, I had power.
You
It's
were
on to
lucky.
my house
Yeah.
next time.
Do we want to schedule a follow-up, and would the trustees like to change the format, or would you like to try to keep the format that we have?
Well, I liked the sharing of the document that
Yeah.
was changing before our eyes.
Oh, you like,
Read
so
it.
that wasn't nauseating, I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know how you keep up with it, but I liked seeing the changes, being able to read the original.
Okay.
I like that too, and I find that it's easier to do that online than connect to the screen, cause we are often screen
Squinting.
challenged,
We are.
when it comes to, connecting up to the big screen. So I like an online meeting, but Tom, you said, did you have a problem, do you have a hard time
I've
connecting?
had, a new router, a new filter, new connection at the brick building on Main Street. I've lost my Verizon line for over a
Oh,
Wow.
week. Just got back yesterday.
okay.
But the link was funny, so I think you said,
Oh, yeah, I kept getting a March 28th,
yeah,
meeting
yeah,
announcement.
but we can make that easier next time, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what
Yeah, I'm not
happened.
sure what that was, but.
Yeah,
The Teams thing.
yeah.
When would you guys like to meet? I am out of town the 19th to 23rd, 18th to 23rd, but that does not mean you can't meet without me,
We can't.
Next week, we're having a committee meeting for the policies to try to just clean up and review going forward. In preparation, I don't know if the trustees feel comfortable trying to hold a meeting the week of May 12th through the 16th.
I can't do that.
Okay, then my personal proposal would be, why don't we table this until our June meeting? And that would give our sub-policy committee meeting a chance to review, and then we set a date at our June meeting,
Okay.
if you are all comfortable with that.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think May feels a little hectic.
Yeah, or we could just schedule a meeting in June. I don't know if anybody wants to do that.
That would likewise work. I would avoid doing like we did this week, so avoiding that first week of June, but going out after that.
Well, we have the town meeting and the library trustee.
Mm-hmm.
And then is there elections on the 10th?
Is that when the elections are?
Yeah. But also, we don't know when Wendy is coming, right, so.
Right.
Maybe
But that,
that's a bad idea.
I imagine our meeting will be in the evening, and she
Yeah.
probably would
Yeah.
be here during the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could end up being a busy day for somebody. Do we wanna look at the week of the 16th?
Yeah.
Does Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday work for anybody?
Tuesday and Thursday are both good, Monday and Wednesday are not good for me.
I could do Tuesday and Wednesday.
I can do an evening.
Yeah, I could do
I think I won't.
You're
be
like,
because
June,
I'm
I'm done,
not
June
voting.
17th.
She's doing a little happy dance.
Well, no, not necessarily, but, you know,
I'm
there's
looking
somebody
forward
else
to your
gonna be
help with the
sitting here.
friends.
Yes,
Thank you.
I am. I already replied to the, Whitney to, you know, meet for that next
So
week.
it's sounding like Tuesday.
Is Tuesday?
Yeah, I would propose Tuesday, June 17th, if everybody's comfortable
Cause you
with
could
that.
do Tuesday. We will have a new person? No, not yet.
We
If
won't
we have
because
any
they don't,
write-ins.
they don't come until,
I'll talk to you.
July 1st.
Do we have
Okay.
a write-in
Sorry,
suggestion?
Let me,
When it's
I,
being recorded.
yeah, it's not a write-in. Let me
Someone
just,
submitted papers.
someone submitted papers for 1 year,
Okay,
or at least they pulled papers,
okay.
and I think they got submitted.
I think they did get submitted, the
Did they?
last
Okay.
town clerk report I saw.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
She happened to be inquiring about it with, Mel the day I submitted my papers.
Okay.
I'm not gonna share the name, but
That's
I
fine.
can tell you where was she at,
So June 17th
Yeah.
at 7
17th.
p.m.
Does that work for
Does that work
you?
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm at the library and
Oh.
so I can hear everybody.
Oh, I know, I feel so bad that you had to make her, you had
Yeah.
to run out.
Well, you should
Honestly,
try it at your house.
The
and see.
round trip isn't even 3 miles.
Yeah, but
You know,
still.
so, and I got to drive my car, so.
It was a nice day.
It was not a hardship to jump in and drive up.
Yeah, so we do, so Chris, you signed up for another 3 years, you're on the ballot for 3, Morgan, you're on the ballot for 3, and it looks like there's one person who has submitted papers for the 1 year. So, all things told, we will have the full board July 1st, so we won't have any big gaps, so. And then
I'll have
Alicia
on
will,
the Friends
Alicia will
committee.
kind of shift towards the Friends group, which I think will be great, so kind of, I think we can kind of help
That's
move
what I
them.
try to be, is
You
a
can kind of help move them along,
liaison between
so,
them.
yeah.
Is the name of the one-year candidate public?
I think it
You'll have
is
to wait
on
for
Is
the
it, I don't
ballot
know
to
that I've
come out.
seen, I don't know if I've seen the latest thing from
I think she
Mel.
puts our names when we submit papers and they're validated.
So 2 current trustees will run for re-election and a write-in candidate, no.
It's not
Not
a
a
write-in,
write-in.
so,
So,
just
and
another candidate, a
another
candidate has
candidate.
submitted papers for the 1
Okay.
year, so. So we talked about policies, first floor rehab. Have you ever been able to find lights that match?
I talked to Woodford Electric, they're looking right now, that's not usually their purview, but they're trying to help me out.
Yeah.
I did manage to find a very old piece of paper that I managed to scan and send off to him, and, I then said, I'm going on vacation, so
Yeah.
I have to get back in touch with him.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
in my tickler file,
Yeah,
so.
no worry. Foundation repair. I don't know if we wanna take a look at the work that, sorry, the foundation company,
Murray Masonry and
Murray
more.
Masonry did, and if we like their work, do we want to try and get a quote to have them come back and do some additional pointing? Because we do have money for pointing to do that,
So did we look at their work already?
I don't know that I'm a great
I wouldn't be
judge.
able to tell.
Do you have time
I
to?
haven't studied it. What we did to make the price come down a little bit was we ignored the interior work.
Mm.
And I don't know if this money could be moved to the interior,
I believe
or is it,
that, let me just, I think, I have to go back and confirm this, that some of the money is CIPC, so that means it has to be used for the external part, right? But some of the money is CIPC, that I think there's a little more flexibility in that if we say is brick pointing and repair, right, interior, that there's flexibility in that. I feel like CIPC has more flexibility than CPC. CPC is like pretty strict, like, this is
So-
what you said you're doing, this is what you need to do, and I think CIPC is like, this is the broad umbrella, like we're talking about brick repair, that I think that there's flexibility in it.
Want me to contact him? I can't remember where I left off.
With masonry, or,
Contact Masonry and get separate quotes for the exterior and the interior. We'll see what we can do.
okay, yeah, that would be great.
And do we have to check with CIPC to see, or we just submit the quotes and see what they say?
Submit the quotes and see what
I
they
think
say.
that's good, cause I mean, it's part of the work.
It is part of the work, yeah. Yeah,
Should be
CPC is
okay.
just really like specific, like
It's
CPC.
how you write it.
It's how you write it. CPC is like, you know, we said we're doing the front right foundation, so that's what that money is for, right? It's not for the left and front
Or is.
foundation, right? It's for this. Whereas I think the CIPC, I think when we put the proposal in, it was a little bit more general, it's just like brick repair, pointing. And so there's lots of pointing we can be doing and brick repair we can be doing, so.
Do you remember how much money we have left?
We don't have I mean, I can tell you what we have from,
We haven't spent it, so that amount should be the same.
Yeah.
so right now it says foundation repair 2020, we have,
Well, that
We
one we
spent that.
spent. We have
we spent the foundation, okay, so library brick repair, we have 14,000.
14,000.
What did he charge us for the first one? Do you remember?
Well, it used all that money, right, so.
Like 13,000 plus.
13 plus the 6,000, so
It
No,
was,
19,000. I think it was 19,000.
it was 19,000 exactly, yes, good memory.
No, I got the financial
Understood.
report right there, and I'm like, it's the
Yeah,
only thing
so
we
it was
did.
19,000 was for the first, so we have 14,000 left. Again, there's some money in the donations, you know, that it exceeds 14,000 to an extent we can kind of go from there, so. Okay. Green energy, Chris said there's no report yet, so.
Nope.
We'll get heat pumps eventually, so,
And no news on National Grid.
yeah.
Surprise.
Any other items you would like to discuss that I did not put on the agenda?
I just put the trustee vacancy discussion in.
As we,
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna just be
Were you
social.
gonna adjourn?
No, I was gonna be social, and as we transition from fiscal year to fiscal year, thank the current trustees, and thank you for your friends again, and thank you for being here this year, thank you.
Well, I was gonna thank all of you for welcoming me and teaching me a lot, you know, and just, you know, glad to be part of the library.
Yeah, we're excited for you to be part of the Friends and kind of moving that group forward, and
Thank you.
like it's.
I'm super excited to have friends.
Well, apparently the other folks are organized and so on, so I'm waiting to hear when that meeting is and then even come back and present what's going on.
I'm gonna send you an email because I recently discovered, and maybe you already know, but the MBLC has a lot of things relating to the Friends.
Mhm.
You already
You
know
want
about
me to
that,
do-
including
Isn't that
like
the
a
one we-
discussion
we-
list.
The
we went
letters
to
get you
or
to sign them all.
went to the virtual classes.
Yeah, but I mean, they have like a website that has a lot
When do you have,
maybe
I mean,
more than
when
we
do you have
thought.
time?
Maybe you already know about it.
Calendar, we said we would
Whatever
present them
thing
at
we went to
the
virtually,
June meeting.
Yeah.
I actually
But if
printed
that
up
doesn't
and
happen
I
until
left
July,
it in
that's
that
also fine,
binder
so-
in the
Okay.
closet.
Cause I know
Okay,
there's
good.
issues with
Whitney and
accounts and
everybody
things
else, I
like
don't
that and
think- I
getting
don't know if
checks
they look
cut,
at it or
so.
not, but
You know,
I
so
know that
they're
that was what they said.
making
I'm
their
gonna go
way.
to
Much
the next
reasonable,
meeting.
you
Okay,
know,
great.
I would say.
Say,
Okay.
you know.
So Well, if you're
contact.
going to end
But, you know, with all the
up
funding
having
and
a
the
big
cuts and everything
gathering
else,
I know
how much
presentation
it's
this
true.
year,
help anybody's
then
gonna
I
get
wanna
out of
time
this.
it so
Mhm.
that the checks come
Things
out
change.
and not be expired.
I hear, yeah, so, I guess we should talk to, I guess one of us should reach out to Country Head and
So
the
when
cash
does my
committee
term
to see if we
actually
wanna do
end?
a joint
Is that
thing.
before the
June 30th, right?
But
Yeah.
Does
how-
her term end June 30th?
Do I come to the June meeting or not?
Yep.
Okay, you're not off the
Well,
hook
happy
yet.
to come, I just don't wanna
You
bring
could,
a law.
you could conceivably ditch everybody because, you know, you're not coming back, but your term ends on the last day in June.
Okay,
Yes,
well then
so
I
you're-
have an
you're still one of us.
Was Chris trying to say something?
Well, there was an email you sent us about a link to a program. Would you wanna become a library trustee?
Yeah.
A Zoom that's going on next.
Yeah,
You think that's worthwhile to, I signed up for it.
yeah, I signed up for it too, I figured I was doing more
I
things.
figured I might as well find out more about this.
So, I was gonna put this on the June agenda, but there's a whole, well,
I'm
no,
sorry, I
no,
meant to put that on.
no, that's fine, there's a whole organization that I didn't know anything about, that's like a trustee friends group kind of thing, it's like a nonprofit that's separate from the MBLC, so I attended one of their meetings online, but anyway, we could talk about it, like, we could join that organization if we choose to, so that's how I found out about the other thing.
Okay.
So we could, maybe if we have time, we can
Yes,
talk
we'll
about it.
put that
in
on the
June.
June, I meant to put that on this one and I forgot, so.
Well, I think it was too late for the timing.
Christine, sorry, just to follow up to your director note with regards to the new website that's going out in June, do we know when in June?
Well,
I would've been.
I was looking at it for the formatting and I thought it was okay, but I didn't think to look at the phone or the tablet, so I have to do that now. And then I wanted to see
So-
how you guys liked it, and Krista had given me some suggestions.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has suggestions, please send them to me so that I can discuss it with Guillermo of Cyber Optic.
Do you have a deadline?
No,
And I would assume it was coming out after our June trustee meeting, but I
We could
could
do
be
that.
wrong, but.
what, no, I mean, if everybody says, hey, it looks great, I could just say, hey, alright,
Yeah.
let's go live.
Yeah.
Now, and teach me how to make sure that I know how to do it, cause it's
Yeah.
based off of WordPress, which is not
Okay.
what I was used to before, so, I'll learn how to do it and teach, Ann and Tricia how to do it too, so that everybody will know how to update the website and not be looking at it as if something to be afraid of,
Mhm.
so.
So it will be launched sometime after June, probably.
Anytime.
Again, you know,
It'll be
maybe
on all
in
year
May
too.
that you guys can look at it and see
It's
what you
true.
like, what you don't like. I mean, I already am not, I'm like, the whole having the card applications be the first things that you see on the thing, I'm like, can you bring it down a bit, cause I wanna have the news about
Yeah.
the library, I wanna
Yeah.
focus the library portion, and so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, good.
Somewhere in my vast library files, I have this book with a gray cover, and I haven't been able to find it. But the title of it was something like, all about being a trustee for the library.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody remember this book?
Was it a paperback book?
Yes,
It was.
8.5 by 11.
I think it's
Yeah.
probably on
Three
the
staples.
website now, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have one somewhere. I don't know, I have it in my bag, but yeah.
Well,
I've never seen it.
I just thought everybody should read it.
Yeah.
Let's pass it around.
It's a little late.
I do have something that was
I
not
don't-
anticipated.
No, I know the book that you're talking
about.
I
I don't have it with me.
from VLC
Yeah.
Does that
on
mean
the
I don't
legacy
have to find
collection,
it?
and
I will have to
so
look
she gave
because
us a
it's
lot
not
of
my
in-
trustee bag
good
or
insight
in my
on that.
binder.
It's somewhere in my
And,
house.
I know, I can
We could talk
visualize
about
it.
it more at the next.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
we'll
laugh
put it
because I
more
made a
in next
comment this
meeting.
week about a book that
Um,
was a
do
red
that.
cover,
Yeah.
and I know
So-
I liked
so
it,
just
but I
in-
don't know the title.
just
Yeah,
in the
have
fact that
an
there's
image.
just that there's a bunch of sidebar conversations happening across the table,
Mhm.
either we wanna come back and discuss it as a group, or I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion or second to that adjournment, I don't know which one it is.
Can I have a second to adjourn?
I'll second the adjournment.
It is 8:26. The meeting's adjourned.